The Taiwan Strait Crisis, Justice Mission 2026. In the early morning hours of late December 2026, the waters surrounding Taiwan transformed into a theater of simulated war. Without a single day's prior notice, Beijing announced the commencement of Justice Mission 2026, a massive multi-domain military exercise that has effectively encircled the island. This isn't just another routine patrol. From the high-tech fighter jets screaming across the median line to the silent, lethal submarines patrolling the deep trenches of the Pacific, China is sending a message. It is a warning to what it calls separatist forces and a direct response to a record-breaking $11 billion weapons deal between Washington and Taipei. Today, we dive deep into the escalation. We'll look at the specific tactics used in Justice Mission 2026, the hardware being sold by the U.S. that triggered this fury, and the growing fear that the status quo in the Taiwan Strait is finally reaching its breaking point. Let's look at the map. The People's Liberation Army, or PLA, designated 7 dangerous zones surrounding Taiwan. For the first time, these zones weren't just in the Taiwan Strait to the west, they were to the north, south, and crucially, the east. Expert voice simulated. The placement of these zones is strategic. By placing assets to the east of Taiwan, China is demonstrating its anti-access and area denial capability. They are telling the world we can cut Taiwan off from the Pacific, and we can prevent any external navy from coming to their aid. The numbers released by Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense are staggering. In a single 24-hour window, 130 Chinese aircraft and 14 naval vessels were detected. 90 of those aircraft crossed the median line, an unofficial buffer that has essentially vanished in recent years. The exercises included joint seizure of superiority, simulating total control over the air and sea. Keelung and Kaohsiung blockades. The PLA practiced sealing off Taiwan's 2 most vital ports, the lifeblood of its economy. Live-fire rocket strikes. Long-range rocket systems like the PCH-191 fired rounds into the sea just 44 kilometers from Taiwan's coast. But there's a new player in this year's drills, the China Coast Guard. 14 CCG vessels were integrated into the combat fleet, suggesting that any future blockade might not just be a military action, but a law enforcement action to quarantine the island. Why now? To understand the timing, we have to look back just 2 weeks. The Trump administration announced a massive arms package for Taiwan, one of the largest in history, valued at $11 billion. This package isn't just about quantity, it's about lethality. It includes HIMARS and ATACMS, long-range rocket systems that can strike targets deep into the Chinese mainland if necessary. M107A7 self-propelled howitzers, massive mobile artillery for coastal defense, and advanced drones and surveillance aimed at giving Taiwan a god's-eye view of any incoming invasion fleet. Beijing's reaction was swift. Within days, China sanctioned 20 U.S. defense firms, including giants like Boeing and Northrop Grumman. Their assets in China were frozen and their executives banned. For China, this weapons deal is turning Taiwan into a powder keg. For the U.S., it's about modernizing defensive capability under the Taiwan Relations Act. But in 2025, the gap between defense and provocation has become paper-thin. The human and economic toll. While the world watches the warships, the people of Taiwan are feeling the immediate impact. This isn't just a war game on a screen, it's an economic disruption. During Justice Mission 2026, the Taiwan Civil Aviation Administration had to reroute over 900 flights. Dozens of domestic flights to outlying islands like Kinmen and Matsu were canceled entirely. Thousands of travelers were stranded, and the international shipping lanes, some of the busiest in the world, saw vessels taking long, expensive detours to avoid the live fire zones. Local voice simulated. The fish are gone, and we can't go out. Every time there is a drill, our livelihood stops. We are the ones caught in the middle of these giants. This is what experts call gray zone warfare. China doesn't need to fire a single shot at a building to hurt Taiwan. By normalizing these blockades, they slowly strangulate the economy, wear down the Taiwanese pilots who must scramble to meet them, and attempt to break the morale of the 23 million people living on the island. A world in flux. The international community is on edge. Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takachi recently suggested that Japan's military could be deployed if the situation escalates. This has sent Tokyo-Beijing relations into a tailspin. Meanwhile, Philippine officials have expressed deep concern as the ripples of this conflict reach the South China Sea. We are seeing a world where the old alliances are being tested. In his New Year's Eve address, Chinese President Xi Jinping reiterated that the reunification of the motherland is unstoppable. On the other side, Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te maintains that the island will not bow to coercion. As 2025 draws to a close and 2026 begins, the question isn't if another drill will happen, but when. Justice Mission 2026 has shown that the PLA can now surround Taiwan at a moment's notice. The noose, as some analysts call it, is tightening. Justice Mission 2026 is a stark reminder of how fragile peace can be. Between multi-billion-dollar arms deals and massive naval blockades, the Taiwan Strait remains the most dangerous flashpoint on the planet. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We will continue to monitor the movements in the Pacific and the diplomatic fallout in Washington and Beijing. I'm Mukta, and this has been a special report on the 2026 Taiwan crisis.